Hello, everyone. So tonight we're here with Joe Benjamin from the Benjamins, and they just performed at the Crossroads in Garwood. Did an amazing job as always.
Thank you.
So we wanted to
I would say
interview.
stellar instead of amazing, but it's just what I'm saying.
Definitely stellar. Definitely stellar. And we wanted to interview Joe because me personally, I have seen the Benjamins for probably 20 years plus.
Yep.
My first time seeing the Benjamins was at the Junkyard on
Oh my
Wednesdays.
Wow.
And then going into Thursdays at Park City, like they were the
Park City's.
yes, Park
our home,
City,
yep.
between Park City and Junkyard, they were the band to see. So ironically, all these years go by, we get older, and me and my girl Cha Cha Cherry over here start talking about cover bands, and she mentions the Benjamins, and I was shocked. I had no idea you guys were still together.
Okay.
So she says to me, "Yeah, I seen them recently in the past few years, and now here we are together watching you guys, and
Right.
it's awesome for me because it's like nostalgic for me, awesome for her, and we're here to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, but just to give your fans, you know,
Sure.
some background about you. So first thing is we want to know how you guys actually started and when did you establish yourself as the Benjamins?
Wow. Well, we just October 6th. This past October 6th was 25 years, believe it or not. So we just celebrated 25 years.
That's awesome.
So, but I remember it like it was yesterday. So we started the band under the premise that we all were from the same town. We all went to the same high school. There was a member of the band that wasn't, but the four of us were. All went to the same high school. My brother was in the band. And then within like 6 months, we had a guitar player that was from that town. So about after a year that the band started, the whole band was from the same town, same high school. And we all, I mean, different years, of course. I was the youngest and still am. But, and that's kind of how it started. It was just,
What's the town? You have to do a
Garfield,
show.
New Jersey.
Oh, wow, awesome.
We would see, we would go out and see other bands. I'm not going to name other bands to give them props. But we would see other bands and we'd be like, we can do that. We can do better than that. We can be, So that's kind of what we did. And the five of us from the same high school, same town. And it just kind of took off from there.
How old were you when you started singing?
Oh, boy. Let's say I'm much younger than now. Much younger.
And
20s.
And your brother, you guys have always like jammed out together growing up.
Well, I mean, we have different styles of music that we like. My brother was my original drummer. That was in the band for 18 years. They were hardcore guys, like really hardcore music, and I was more, contemporary. I like Chicago, stuff like that, So, and then as the years went on, a lot of 80s music, Bon Jovi, of course. So it was, but we always kind of, because he's 3 years older, so we kind of always played music together somewhat, and then just kind of came together years later.
Do you remember your first gig?
As the Benjamins?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first gig we played at Metro Lounge in Rochelle Park.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, we actually opened up for Dog Voices, and which Richie's our guitar player. So
Oh, wow.
it was kind of ironic that Richie's in the band now. So it was Metro Lounge. We opened up for them. It was a great show. I think we opened up and Lay Your Hands on Me from Bon Jovi, believe it or not. If I thought about it, I could probably remember the whole set. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
of course. It's like
Yep.
an epic moment, your first show. How was the crowd?
That I don't remember. It was busy,
Yeah.
but that I don't remember too much. But I just remember that was the first show.
And then once that happened, how did the word get out? Like, what did you think helped you become more successful as a cover band?
Well,
tribute band?
I think when you believe in what you do, I think that's a good start. But also, it was a time where bands could believe that they could be full-time cover bands, play music for a living. There was a time that was achievable because you saw bands like the Nerds and Big Orange Cohen and other bands that were doing it. So we could do this. We could be a full-time band, and not have other jobs and live the dream. So that's kind of how it started. I think it was just doing our own thing and coming up with our own style of playing songs. You know, it may be cliche, but it just, you know, but also I think a big thing for us was just the contact with people. You know, we were able to go out and hang with people and become friends with them, and you know, not just fans but friends of the band. Like that's kind of, you know, so that's kind of how it all kind of started.
Yeah, and I feel like thinking back to those days, and I mentioned how, you know, we became like a music blog for this area right now.
Yep.
Back then, it was Stepping Out. We saw you guys
Yep.
listed constantly. Everybody promoted it. There was MySpace.
Yeah.
This is all pre.
Well, even before MySpace,
Social media.
MySpace started 2005, I think. So there was, or maybe a little earlier, but there was, you know, it was just, you just got out and played, and places had people that were there to build fan base off, and the band like us, we were doing songs that no other bands were doing. That was the key. Find songs that other bands don't do, and you know. So, but you know, stepping out and that stuff helped, but it was really just going everywhere, not caring how much we got paid, just going everywhere and getting in front of people, you know, and kind of building our own brand.
So thinking back to then, what do you think your best venue was in
The best
20
what?
venue, like 20 years
I
ago,
mean,
not now.
Yeah, I mean,
20
it's hard to
years.
say. I'll always give props out to Soundgarden because, and Park City, of course, because that was our home base. We're from Bergen County, so, you know, those were the places that, I mean, Soundgarden was a little bit more, you know, once we start to build, we got in there and then like just took off. But like Park City, obviously Jenks, Trade Winds, you know, Poor Billy's back then. It's not there anymore, but you know, places like Chubby's, you know, those were places that got us to play in front of people, you know. But Park City obviously was the main one because we were there every week and building a fan base one at a time, you know.
And
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden was, I mean, Eugene, owner, is still a good friend. Just
Where was that?
Lodi.
Lodi. Terrific person, and just great. And he also helped push us to Jenkinson and other places. He knew the owners. Like, it was just a great, you know, people that really loved the band pushed us. And it's not just the band. Like anybody who says, "Yeah, it's us," like it's a lot of different things. It's people pushing you. It's people supporting you. It's being in the right venue at the right time. It's a lot of those things.
So now fast forward, for me, 20 years later, how did you find the most important thing to stay relevant after all this time?
That's a good question. Staying relevant. Well, there was a lot of, you know, being around 25 years. Every few years there is a change. There's a change. So as you're moving along, you're changing a little bit. You know, but at the same time, you're staying true to who you really are. You know, we started out the band, we played hard rock, we played Bon Jovi, when other bands would not play Bon Jovi. We played, you know, anything that was 2000s, a lot of 80s remix. So like that was kind of what we did. So to stay relevant, it was just a matter of continuing to learn, you know, current music, but at a time, it's also just realizing people and where they're at, you know. So it's difficult, you know, but if you kind of toe the line of learning new material and what makes sense for the band, because some songs don't make sense for you, even if it's the hottest song that's out there, it doesn't make sense for who you are, you know. So that's kind of you know, every couple of years, like you said, in the 2012 and 13, 14, we started to bring in a female singer because we wanted to do corporates, weddings, functions, and it was like, what's the next thing? Conquered this, what's the next thing? So
Yeah, and she was explaining to me that you also venture out and you get bigger bands when you do wedding events, and you get hired for bigger events. Your
Yeah.
band expands, which I think is awesome.
yeah.
Because you know how to like cater to that.
Of course. But I think a big thing also, to go back to the original question about like staying relevant, like first 5 or 6 years of the band, we wrote, and we still do, but we wrote our own music, put albums out. We opened up for Lifehouse, Third Eye Blind, like so. We weren't just a cover band. We were playing our own music, and we were pushing that avenue. You know, it's so when people would come to see us, it wouldn't just be that's they're a cover band. Like we were a band. We had an album that was in stores. You know, I mean, you know, so we just, so it was something that we really cared about, you know, so we believed in what we were doing, and that's so, like, staying relevant now, it's just a matter of finding out what avenue music is right for you, you know.
And you still have that fan base. Like there's people.
Well, yeah, of course, you know, being around this long,
Yeah.
we have generational fan base, so like,
Oh yeah, that's what
you know,
we're saying.
people in their, you know, mid-40s, you know the band, and they still come out to see us, and now their kids are getting older, so they're coming out to see us. And then we have people in their 30s that saw us the past 10 years, they just got married and have kids. And then we have younger people in their early 20s that have seen the band, that love what we do because they think it's retro, or they love the songs, and you know, so, you know, and then you mix in some of the current stuff that feels good for us, and just keeps that whole, you know, so you're talking about 21 to 50.
Oh yeah, and
A fan
older
base.
too. I saw
Yeah.
older people
Yeah.
Yeah.
tonight too.
Yep.
And that was probably the biggest thing for me was when I would tell my friends, hey, the Benjamins are out. The girls that I would go out to Park City with back in the early 2000s were shocked that you were still out there. And that's also struck a chord with us that, wait, like, how come people don't know that you're still out there?
Well,
We
I
have to
think
get it ourselves.
I can tell you that a lot of people, once they start having kids, real life happens, they stop coming out, so, and they get involved in life, you know. So if they haven't been out in 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years, they may not even know. And the thing is, like, I feel like sometimes a lot of people over a certain age don't really go on to social media a lot,
Exactly.
and that's where we're at. You know,
Yeah.
that's where everybody's at. So, you know, but I think it's just a matter of people going into their lives, getting married, and doing different things, and then, you know, at some point they circle back and they find us again, and they come seeing us again. And it's pretty cool.
And speaking of weddings, I think you should talk a little bit more because I know you expand when you do weddings, and I only found that out recently because I got an invite for an event from Tim Veter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is Tim Veter
Tim's
sending
great.
me?
I love Tim. I
And-
love you, Tim. Trust me.
I
We're
love-
driving together tomorrow to the wedding.
I love Tim too, and see, you don't know that I know Tim,
Yeah.
but when he was in Gas House Gorillas, way back in the day, I
Yep.
did their PR.
Yep.
So I'm like, why is he sending me something for the Benjamins? And I clicked on it, I'm
Yep.
like, oh my god, he's in the Benjamins when you guys do weddings.
Well, that's the progression. You're talking about staying relevant. That's the progression, right? It was, we were a 5-piece band, and then we were a keyboard player, and then we were a 4-piece band, no keyboard player, and that's when we started writing originals. Took that, and then we added a female singer, and then started doing weddings and corporates, and then we're adding the trumpet and the sax, and so, you know, so that's kind of, so it's kind of like you're adding. So now we do like a 9-10-piece band. You know, we can do that, and you know, we're doing a wedding in Ohio in a couple weeks.
Ohio.
So that's fun, you know. But that's, you know, it's the brand that's been successful from the start. And as long as you keep it high energy and keep it, you know, on a level where people can say this show is great, because as soon as you do anything to not give you the best show you can, that's when people start to notice. That's why I think that's why we've been here for this long, because we continuously, I know for me, I continuously push and push and push, and I'm looking for the next thing all the time, and that's what it's about.
So on a personal question,
Yep.
what are, like, I know this is a very difficult thing to answer for most musicians, but you to narrow it down, your biggest musical influence, maybe give us 3. If you can't give us 3, I'll give you 5.
It really is hard.
I
It
know,
really
it's the
is
hard, it's probably the hardest question, I think, most people.
I mean, the genre, there's many different genres. I mean, you know, what can I listen to when I'm driving home from a show from AC for 2 hours and listen to it for the entire time?
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's going to be cliche because it's going to be Bon Jovi, because I love Bon Jovi, you know, and it's not, you know, it's the deep songs, it's the B-side, it's that kind of stuff. So I could listen, you know, for 4 hours. Actually, I drove to Ocean City, Maryland this summer, and I listened to Bon Jovi radio the whole time. So it may be cliche, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
If anybody knows me, it's the truth. Band called Toad the Blood Sprocket, which is a 90s band that I can listen to religiously. I mean, it's hard to give you 3, maybe 5.
I know, that's
Stone
what I
Temple
was saying,
Pilots,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Stone Temple Pilots. I love Chicago. you know, and believe it or not, the police,
Awesome.
you know, and that's just, I mean, it's
That's what I know, it's the hardest
there's
thing
probably
to answer.
60.
'Cause there's,
Yeah.
Those
I
are
know.
the, yeah, those are.
But I always ask because I'm curious what people will say
Yeah.
if they have to
Yeah.
narrow it down.
Yeah.
And the variety is important.
Yeah, of
To
course.
go from Bon
Of course.
Jovi to Police. Like,
I mean, I love all 2000s rock music. I love Nickelback. I mean, the people of Nickelback. I love Nickelback. I love Papa Roach. I love all of that, you know, 3 Days Grace. I love all the hard rock, you know. So I like pop punk and emo too, but you know, hard rock is really what I like most. Like, so, but those are the 5 bands I can come up with.
so that would lead us into the next question is what is your favorite song to perform?
My
Like your
favorite song?
personal favorite.
Oh,
and
man,
again,
it's-
if you can't give us one, you
I
can
don't
give
know.
us
I don't
three.
think you can. I don't think you can. I mean, like, I mean, it would probably. I mean, you know, if I was just a betting man, I would probably say I'll be there for you, like for Bon Jovi, like solo.
Yeah.
You know, as far as the full band, it's really hard to say. You know, it's really hard to say. But I mean, you know, that's a really tough question. I don't think you can really answer it
Yeah.
because there's just so much. You know, there's so much music. But I would say when I remember playing that song at a bunch of shows earlier on in our career, and it just was the response from people was just always insane.
Yeah, and that's what we find too when we talk to other bands is that it's not necessarily your connection. Sometimes it's more the crowd connection.
100%.
that drives
Everybody
it.
who sees the band, we've done thousands of weddings. People followed us. People asked us tonight to play original music. You know, like I think that's really what it is. You know, I just made a post about our 25th anniversary, and when I said it in the post, I'm not sure you saw it, but I said, you know, we're not going to talk about the amount of years in the band. We're just going to talk about the relationships and the moments and the friendships people have made over the time, you know, and then we're going to talk about the future because really it's where we're going from here, you know. But I think it's the crowd's perception of you. Everybody has a different perception, you know. Not everybody likes us. What are you going to do? So like, you know, but the people that have supported us, like it's, you know,
No, you have
everybody
some
has.
hardcore fans.
What do you say?
You have hardcore fans. Like, I know
Yeah, I mean,
people
no,
who-
I think a lot of that comes from the fact that people loved our original music. I think they followed it. They went out and saw the shows and, you know, they connected with it. But also I feel like we've done a lot of songs over the years that other people have not. So like those connections with those songs, like, you know, some people, a bunch of people, we do a song from the Rocky soundtrack, No Easy Way Out. I don't think any other band does that song, but like, and we still do it. And there's people out there that have that connection to that particular song. You know, it's a song, it's a moment. They call it a cafe. They saw us here, they saw us there, or whatever it is. It's their perception of what it is, their reality.
And I don't think a lot of people, well, I think a lot of people do know, but I don't think everybody knows that you also do solo gigs.
I do a lot of solo gigs. So about solo, like solo is cool. I enjoy it because I can branch out a little bit and do some stuff that I like to do. But at the end of the day, like there's nothing better than a full group because I feel like no matter what you do, it's not like when you're in a band, it's not one person. It's everybody in the band. So even though I'm the singer from the beginning of the band, it's not about me only. Like it's about everybody who puts something in. Past members, current members, people that just have put into the group and made the fabric of the history of the band. Like, you know, so like that's why solo's cool and I enjoy it, you know. So, but at the same, like, if I were to ever choose, I would always play full band.
All right. Well, I think I don't want to ask you too many questions because all my questions probably are overwhelming when I'm asking like favorites and stuff like that.
All good, all good, all good.
Is there anything that you would like to say, like even just a personal thing about yourself, like something you'd like to do besides music?
I'd like to say a lot. I would say a lot. A beautiful lot. I don't think so. I think I will say that after all these years of doing it, it's still great. You know, learning new material, bringing back songs like we did tonight. Like, there's always something you can do to change the show. And that's what drives me, like just changing the show and just adding something, and you know, the little nuances of playing a song. People are like, what the hell is a song? It's great. And that's what we did in the beginning. We used to play songs, like when Linkin Park first came out, we played songs off their albums that weren't even on the radio because we liked them. And I think people gravitated to that because you can play all the same crap that every other band plays. What makes you different? And it's those moments and those songs. So that's you know, if that's something to say, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'll ask you one last
Sure.
question, and then anything else you want to say. Where do you see the future of the band? Where do you see the band in 5 or 10 years?
Oh wow, that's a really tough question. It's hard to answer. It's a hard question to answer. I think we're just going to continue to do what we do until we can. You know, like, I think we're going to do what we do until if people are coming and they want to see it, we're going to do it. You know, I think in 5 years, you know, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years with anybody, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, we're just going to continue to do what we do, and we're going to continue to be the original, stay original and true to what we are. And, you know, and hopefully that takes us into the next chapter of what we do, you know, so we'll see where it leads us.
Well, we thank you so much because we
it's my
appreciate
pleasure.
your passion. And like I said, for me personally, I've seen you from early 2000s to now, and it's awesome to see that you're still going strong.
Well, I'm happy you guys are still enjoying the shows.
Absolutely.
But
yeah.
that's the point right there.
Yeah.
Still enjoy it. So
And that's
still
why I
good.
want to do this, to bring this to your fans, to get a little one-on-one with
Absolutely.
you. because,
Absolutely.
You know,
Thank you
we
guys
don't
for
want,
having
we don't
me.
want
and
anyone
your-
to be underestimated in this type of environment. You
Yeah.
guys are amazing. It makes
Thank
so
you.
many people happy. I looked around the crowd, the smiles.
We don't take it for granted either. Just
Yeah.
that's one thing I will say. Like, never take it for granted. Like, we just continue to do it, and people come out and support, and if, you know, without people supporting, you have nothing. You know, so that's it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much,
All
Joe.
right, thank you so much.
No problem,
Joe.
guys.
All right.
All right, signing off from the Flying Garden.
Yeah, signing off. Bye.
Bye.